Coordinator Joan Quinn is the former West Coast editor of Andy Warhol's Interview magazine and the society editor of the Herald Examiner. Her cover stories are seen in Venice and Detour magazines, and she is a contributing editor to Angelus magazine. For the next half hour, Joan will bring you inside news and views on society, art, film, and the exhilarating world of these multifaceted people. Here is Joan Quinn.
Welcome to Joan Quinn, etc. Our guest today, actor Kevin Conway from Other People's Money, and master embroiderer Francois Lesage, who has a show opening at the LA County Museum of Art. But as you know, I always cover social parties, openings, things that go on for charity events for Angelus magazine. And today we'll take you to the Otis Parsons show, which was a charity party at the Beverly Hilton Hotel. The main entertainment was a wonderful fashion show, which was put on professionally with clothes made by the students at the school. So take a look at your monitor and you'll see Joan Quinn clicks. Kevin Conway originated the role of Larry the Liquidator in Other People's Money off-Broadway. He received the award for being the best actor from the Outer Critics Circle group. Kevin, what is the Outer Critics Circle?
Well, I used to think they were all the critics that didn't have indoor plumbing, but they turn out that they're really a group of critics, and some of them are very good too, who are really involved with any newspaper or magazine or whatever that's not in Manhattan.
Oh, that's Outer Circle.
Right. Or not, you know, in the mainstream of the Times News, Post, Time Magazine kind of thing.
You've been playing the role of Larry the Liquidator at the Pasadena Playhouse,
right,
and it will open at Westwood by popular demand. How do you feel about the California audiences?
Well, they've been really terrific, and I'm not just saying that because I'm sitting here in California, but there was some concern on our part that because the show actually has been around for quite a while, and it opened in New York about 2.5 years ago, when a lot before the stock market crash, or right after that, and a lot of the things that it deals with, we were afraid might be a little passé. Some of the people we mentioned are in jail in the show, and things like that, and also things like steel being a dying industry, and steel sort of made a comeback in the last couple of years. But we found that the LA audiences are really in the groove with it. I mean, because it is what happened in the past.
Does their response affect your acting on stage, or do you just go through and...
Well, you have, you know, obviously your character, you know what you want to do, what you're after, what moments you want to make work. But an audience, in a funny way, they bring in their own atmosphere. And a lot of people ask you the question, how can you do the same role over and over again, 8 times a week for so long a time? And really, it's like when you have an audience come in that has, you can almost tell what kind of an audience it's going to be on Saturday night. You can tell what the matinee audiences are going to be like. But during the week, they create their own karma, if you will.
But what do you do? Do you respond to it? Do you change
to a little bit, yeah. I mean,
does it pep you up?
It's well, it can mess up your timing. You know, if you're used to a big laugh or a small laugh, and
right,
you get a big laugh and whatever, then it does kind of play with the pace. So you got to be on top of it. And but basically, it's thrilling because it's like doing it for the first time all over
every night. Your character, I think your character is pretty sleazy. I know. I said
can
that to
argue
you
about
the
that.
other day, and I think you kind of disagreed with me about
I
it.
do.
But tell us about Larry the Liquidator.
Well, he's, I guess the word to describe him, the one word would be obsessive. He's obsessive about everything. And he's got a severe donut habit, a severe cigarette habit. He's got a serious weight problem. And, but the thing about him that makes him, I think, special as a character, he's got Falstaffian appetites. So it's this an element of an almost Shakespearean type character, and it's that big, you know. But he's the most honest person in the play. Now what he does, you might disagree with what he does, and you might disagree with his views on the capitalist system and what should be done with it. But the bottom line is that he doesn't like green mail, he doesn't lie. If anything, Kate lies to him, and he catches her lying to him. And he believes in a sort of cowboy type approach to capitalism and to economics, which is if you've got the guts and the nerve and the will, and you can make big money, and you deserve to make big money. The people without the guts and the nerve, they don't deserve to make big money.
It's funny because I complimented you by saying you were really hateful, and I know you backed off a little bit, and I think this is explaining why. But yesterday I was also talking to some people who had seen you at the Pasadena Playhouse and said, oh, it was so wonderful. He was such a sympathetic character.
Yeah.
I really fell for it. So
Well,
it
I
is
think-
the fine line that you're playing, I think.
Well, you know, the other thing about it is that, which you can only do, I mean, the lines aren't really there to support this, but when you're working on a character, it's really like a detective story. You have to keep going through the script and finding things that the author possibly meant or possibly insinuates, but hasn't actually written, and that you can fill it in. And one of the things is the fact that anybody who allows themselves to get as obese, you know, in terms of the way Larry does with his donuts, and who surrounds themselves with cigarette smoke, clouds of it, it's really saying, it's keeping people away, you know. And I think there's a very lonely guy in there. And it's Kate comes along and kind of cracks open his shell.
Do you think the difference in that is that in this production you're directing it and you've gotten deeper into Larry?
I think that helped, because then I could also talk to the other actors about what they're playing. You know, so in New York, the New York director, I don't think totally agreed with that. But I figure a character that is as profane, blasphemous, I mean, the language,
Yes.
you know, somebody that uses, that's a way to keep people away from him, to kind of protect himself.
But
And,
we'll see. Kate does break through. I
Yeah.
think we have two clips. If you watch the monitor, it's the first one when she first comes to talk to you.
Okay.
And then there's a very short break. The screen will go dark for a couple of seconds. And then I think the second time she comes to talk to you. And then we'll talk about what happened after that.
Okay.
Watch the monitor.
Can you tell?
Not yet.
Hang in, you will.
That's what I came to see you about. I need a month to hang in.
Get lost.
I just got involved. I need time to get everybody's act together.
My act is together.
If you give me some time, I think we can work something out.
Settle?
Work something out.
I never settle unless I'm in trouble.
Or when it makes sense.
Don't make sense unless I'm in trouble.
Well, if you prefer, we'll go to court, get an injunction, have a fight, all kinds of allegations, cost them, cost you, and for what?
I live in court. You're gonna have to do better than that.
I won't love you anymore.
You got 2 weeks.
That's still 3 minutes.
Both sides.
No more bite.
2 weeks.
Thank you. Now that you almost killed me, can we talk?
Talk, I'm listening. Just don't die on me.
What do you want to go away?
What do you mean?
What number do we buy you out at?
Green mail. Are you offering me green mail?
You stop it.
Are you?
Stop acting like it's new. You You've done it 3 times in the
I
past.
have done shit in the past. I don't play that way. It was never my idea. And I want the record to show that it's not my idea in this case.
Why are you acting so uptight? It's not illegal.
No, it's not. It's immoral. Oh, I know that distinction has no relevance to you lawyers, but it matters to me.
Someone who has nothing nice to say about lawyers, you certainly have enough of them around.
You have to. They're like nuclear warheads. They got theirs, you gotta have yours. Good in their silos.
I'll have to remember that.
Let me ask you something. Did you have authorization to offer me agreement? Yeah, bet your ass you didn't. The others didn't either. It always comes from the lawyers. It's a lawyer's scheme. Everybody walks out happy. I get paid off, you get paid off, Yogi keeps the company, Billy Boy keeps his inheritance, the employees keep their jobs. Everybody makes out.
Sounds pretty good to me.
Except the stockholder. Their stock falls out of bed, they don't know what hit them.
I don't believe this. We better stop hanging out together. I turn into Don Rickles and you turn into Albert Schweitzer.
Kevin, I know that you really don't look like that. How did you get that look on stage?
Well, first of all, I dye my hair.
Oh.
And the beard.
Yes.
To a dark brown. It's actually red. Not as red as yours, but red. And then there's a body pad that was created. It actually constructed in pieces so that it has some contour to it. Otherwise, it's just a big,
You put
feathers.
it. You wear it underneath your clothes.
It's like a tunic.
Is it hot?
It's murder. It's like your own private sauna carrying it around with you. And that's the only thing that bothers me about it, because it does. Larry shouldn't sweat as much as I sweat. If I had something to change in him, I would say he sweat less. But with the body pad, there's no way to avoid it.
And then how do you have like this kind of hump back and
that's
no neck?
The first thing I did when I came out here to do the show was find a good chiropractor.
Could you have to stay in that position?
I push his head down because he's carrying a lot of tension with him in his shoulders.
Yeah.
And he's a very tense man. And he loosens up in the second act. He becomes more agile, because he falls in love.
And he gets the girl, and that's why he gets the girl, because of your sympathetic portrayal, I guess. I was all wrong about it.
Well, you got to. What he does might just be too much for you to worry about him too much as an individual. But I happen to think he's kind of a special guy.
I know you've been in movies, plays, TV. What's your favorite media?
I don't really have one. It's usually the one I'm not doing at the time. But I would have to, if I had to make a choice, I would say the theater. Only because the theater is everything really comes from that. Everything springs from that. If you can do theater, I think you can pretty much do anything else. And also you get a chance to run a character, to play it.
Just what
not even necessarily, just even in that evening, 3 hours worth of, so you start at a point and then you take it chronologically through the life of that character. Films, as you know, is all broken up, and it's really a director's medium.
Yeah, and as a director, do you think, I know you've directed films and you've directed this play and you've directed other things off-Broadway.
Right.
Would you ever give up acting for directing?
No, unless the roles, if I get a certain age and they don't, the roles, aren't as good as I want to do, then I might just do directing or writing full-time. I think that's what I'm sort of aiming to become, when I can't, when the knees go out.
That's right.
Become a writer.
We're going to take a break. Okay. We'll be back with Kevin Conway and Francois Lesage, who will be showing us telling us a little bit about what theater he did and what films he worked on. We'll be right back. We're back with Francois Lesage. He has a show, an exhibition of the embroidery and beading at the LA County Museum of Art, and he's opened a new boutique with his especially contemporary designs at iMagnon's in Beverly Hills. Tell us when you were back in Los Angeles last.
Well, I was back here 2 years ago, and it was after 42 years.
Oh, you were back after you started working in films here.
I started here in 1948, and yesterday I was very happy to have Jean-Louis from Columbia, who was a fabulous man, who helped me to start my job in Los Angeles.
You actually worked with Jean-Louis?
No, Jean-Louis is retired, you know.
No, before, I mean, when you were a youngster.
Yeah,
when you were a teenager.
When I was a teenager, I started with Jean-Louis, and I opened my workroom on Sunset Boulevard for my 18 years old, and I worked with all the designers like Adrian, like Irene, but you know, Jean-Louis is French, and well, he's my préféré.
I didn't realize you had opened a shop here. I thought you were just working in film. Did you work out of the shop in?
What do you mean?
You had a boutique here before?
No, I had a workroom.
A
and
workroom.
I was manufacturing the dresses and the embroidery for the films. We made a lot of dresses for Marlene Dietrich, for Ava Gardner, for Lana Turner, as well as for Irene, that for Jean-Louis, that for Adrienne, that for Maruzia.
Did you get all the workers from here, or did you bring people from France?
No. You know, I was here for a little. My father was used to be the chief designer of Marshall in Chicago after the First World War. Sent me here to learn English, and my godmother was here managing Dunlop. Then I met Jean-Louis, and I had the idea, because I was even at this age a little dynamic, that I had the idea to open my own workroom. Then I found a workroom with some Cuban embroiders, and then I received the samples, and I started to work with Jean-Louis and with the studios, and even with houses of fashion houses like Don Lopo, Maruzia, which are disappeared for the moment.
Oh, well,
and I made $10,000 the first month.
That is amazing. You're almost a Los Angelino, starting out like that. But how could you have stayed away for so long? What a long period.
Well, you know, I couldn't stay a long time here because my father died when I was here. Then I was obliged to be back and to hold the flag with them in Paris with my mother.
And you stayed.
And I stayed, and here I was a king, you know. And because in the States, when you don't need to be bald to be nice. But back in 50s in Paris, at 20, well, it was quite difficult because I fall from my throne, and I learned my job with the help of my mother.
But I think the House of Lesage is over 120 years old. Will you tell us a little bit about it and how how your family got involved?
Yeah, briefly, because it's difficult to explain 120 years in 12 minutes.
Yes.
Well, that was my father when he came back from Marshall Field, because he was the longest prisoner of the war. He wanted to come back because he stayed 3 years in America. Then he found old embroiderer who was the embroiderer of Jacques Frederick Worth and Vionnet, and he bought this company. And he met my mother, who was a modelist at Madeleine Vionnet. Well, they meet each other. They met little babies.
Made little babies, and then?
And they have been the exclusive embroiderer of Madeleine Vionnet and Schiaparelli.
So people talk about you as being on the inner circle of the fashion world, and that's why.
Well, it's the fact that I'm born in these beats, and while you have seen the decor of our little cavern of Alibaba in Paris, and but it's a fact that we are doing a little bit the fireworks of the fashion show, because now the haute couture is not made anymore to be sold, but to be seen and to be a support of all the things which are surrounding the haute couture, and we could and all the designers with in intimate collaboration with us make some dreams.
I think we can see a little bit more of what you do if we watch the monitor. We have a roll-in of a tape in your studio, in your atelier, I think.
Okay.
And then maybe you can talk a little bit about what's going on when it comes on.
Well, that's you have two techniques. You know, that's a needle technique. Here, well, I'm checking the if there is enough relief in this embroidery, and I'm explaining them that they shouldn't put more thread here and more details here. That's a Lacroix cape with the paint. Meantime, it's painted, and we embroidered with very thin little bias of satin. That's a document of Jacques Fat
C'est de
of
créer une
the
symphonie
50s.
joyeuse et belle.
Because, you know, we have a huge museum of we have the most important collection. Oh, that's 1910. It's inspired from the garden of Ville-André, the famous castle. Well, that's some dresses for Ferré last summer. The left one is inspired from a chair of Manila in white, and the right one is a decor inspired from an old lace of the south of Italy.
The lace is what I thought was so different from the beading.
But you know, it's made on net, and in here you see this jacket is fabulous, but the girl can't move. Here, well, they work on the frame. That's again a return, and you see a part of accessories. The girl wear our earrings, because I will explain you.
And those are new accessories,
Yes, because that was a fabulous jacket of Gianfranco Ferré, and but that's my studio where I'm in the front of the white page, often crying because I'm finished. I don't have no more ideas, and little by little, well, it's like a painting. It goes out from the frame. But you know, I wanted 3 years ago because to be behind the stage, like the writer who wrote Lesage, the American Palmer White, who calls all these supplies the unsung heroes. Well, I think that it was the time after so many years to come on the market with our own accessories. That's the reason for what we have created with the collaboration of a young designer who was, his name is Gérard Trémollet. We have created our line of contemporary accessories.
But
that's inspired from, for instance, from Topkapi. These accessories are almost unique. They are made in very small quantities.
the clip that we just saw, most of those things are at the museum. How did that museum show come about?
Well, the thing, you know, I tried to make a retrospective of 120 years, and we have some puppet with by 10 and 10 years, and Edouard made a fabulous job, and they showed that in a perfect condition. That it's a little resume of 120 years of embroidery, because our archives represent about 9 or 10 million hours of work.
Yes.
Then I cannot show that, you know.
No. Where will this show go? This will be here till July in Los Angeles. Then
this show is done. The FIT, Galliera in Paris, Tokyo, Los Angeles, and now we will go in certainly Rome or Venice, Barcelona, Berlin.
So you plan to travel
London, Leningrad, and after we may remake a new show in Los Angeles, but with another department, because now we make embroidery for the walls, because we...
Oh, yes, with furnishing. You're doing furnishing.
Yeah.
But you talked, we have the old things at the museum, and at iMagnons in Beverly Hills, we have the new things.
Yeah, the new things, that's it.
And you're opening a boutique there called the Master Touch of Lesage.
It's a very delicate corner at Magdalen.
And tell us a little bit about these new things. I love this.
No, there is always, we want always to have a little touch of humor in accessories, you know. That's some big lips, you know.
Big lips.
That's a bit Marie Antoinette bag, like with the collier de la reine.
Let me feel this. This is hot. Great. Beautiful.
Well, that's a bracelet like Louis XIV.
This bracelet up here.
And that's something more easy to wear. And for the last part of our development, I want that to open a department of ready-to-wear, because I want that people who are not so wealthy could be able to have a little Lesage thing as well as a bag or a cushion or a coat or a jacket, and that's the last part.
I think the exciting thing was going into home furnishings and then going into ready-to-wear. I mean, do you have to bring a whole new barrage of people into the studio and teach them the Lesage thinking?
No, because, well, if they have a little culture, they can open the magazine, they can read the Master Touch of Lesage, they can read the last book we have done called Supplies, Tradesman's Entrance. And, well, we will help them.
We will do it all. One thing I wanted to know is what you think about Los Angeles. What is your favorite thing here?
Well, you know, that's a return in my youth. Then I have a certain emotion to be here, and well, I love Los Angeles and Hollywood because I think that the people are open, and we saw the success of yesterday at the opening of the. Well, they don't have that, and I think that's they make me a gift with this fabulous country and this fabulous weather, and I give them a gift in showing them 120 years of fashion.
And we thank you, Monsieur Francois Lesage. Thank you very much for coming to Los Angeles and bringing your work, and we love Los Angeles too.
And I want to thank everybody who has made a fabulous job and for this exhibition. I cannot tell all the name, but thank you.
Welcome. So these are really wonderful.